Hello! Welcome to the JustCast. I'm here with DragonHam. Go ahead and say hi.
Hello, how's it going?
And today we're talking about, everybody's favorite thing in the entire world because everybody needs it to survive. Food.
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 I didn't know if you wanted more of a fanfare for it.
I was expecting cheers and fireworks and explosions in the background. You really disappointed me.
If you had asked me this like a month sooner when I had my Discord soundboard up, I could have given you everything. Could have given you half a Harry Potter's movie worth of sound effects and VFX.
Oh, I would have loved that though. If you had just come in guns blazing with every single sound effect known to man, I would have just, applause. Pure
You know,
applause.
I am going back and looking through them, and I'm also having the sudden realization that half of them are in fact violate TOS. So maybe it's a good thing we didn't record this a month earlier.
Copyright strike, don't even know her. What is your favorite pasta? Yeah, get thrown for a loop.
Well, pasta, that is a good loop. I wasn't even thinking about Italian. Well, actually, because I guess it wouldn't technically have to be Italian, but more like, I don't know, for me, I love orecchiette. I don't know what it is about it. Maybe it's just because it's little circles or the fact that it like stacks and you can like stack like 15 onto a fork and it's so much more satisfying than just like spaghetti.
It's always a toss-up, right? Because
Yeah.
penne is my go-to. Penne is what I pull out the box in the morning. I'm like, I could really go for this. But I feel
Right.
like corkscrews, like,
Interesting.
are one of the better ones. I also like shells, but the shells are complicated, alright?
Yeah, you can do stuffed shells though. And like if you like I feel like stuffed shells is especially like that's like you go to someone who does that specifically. Um Even if it is just like ricotta in shell, like I don't know.
Oh, I love ricotta and shell. You should see the way I make lasagna. It's just like pure ricotta with
Oh,
a
that
little
sounds so good
sauce.
though. No, I don't know, with Italian food it's interesting because I used to eat like mainly more like Italian American food of, the quintessential cheese, carbs, meat, grease, tomato sauce, whether that
Yes!
be like lasagna, pizza, ravioli, etc., etc. Um but then especially around like 2019 when my doctors hit me with the like, hey, we don't want you to have a heart attack before college and you're cutting it close with your cholesterol. I kind of like hard cut myself off, like specifically pizza. Pizza is realistically probably my favorite food in the world, and I haven't eaten it for about 5 years. Just because I know as soon as I give myself the option of pizza, it will stay an option. And that is an option I will take every time because it's a really easy option to take.
Like, I'm forever grateful that pizza is not one of my favorite foods. I like stuffed
Yeah.
crust. I do, like, I'm not gonna not eat stuffed crust if it's there.
Yeah.
But generally, like, it's a little bit too much for me. Like, I'm not a big fan of red sauce in general, unless it's, like, in a chili. But
Ooh, yeah.
I like pizza, but I only like pizza. I don't love it. It's not great. It's okay.
Yeah. I think like I think one of the reasons it's my favorite too is I feel like especially with pizza is one of those things that there's a lot of different ways to make it, that can all feel very regional. I feel like there's certain like kinds of foods where it is like if you are getting like you have very specific expectations. Um, but with pizza, you might get like a flat crust. Some places do a really good thick crust. Some places you've got them pepperonis that are like half the size of a binder that they try to fit on like 15 of them a piece. Sometimes
True.
they're like the crispy little tiny ones that cup the grease in it. So like every bite you have the little like grease bomb pepperonis. It's the best.
Oh, that, but crispy? 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Yeah. Curry is another one where it's like the going out for curry can mean like 50 million different things because like I love Japanese curry. I love Indian curry. They're two very, very different meals.
Oh, absolutely. I have been messing around with a lot of different types of curry. So far, I think I like Korean curry best out of the ones I've tried.
Really? Yeah.
I usually make it myself, so obviously the ingredients are going to vary a little bit, but generally in the way it's made, I've been preferring Korean curry over most of the
Yeah.
other kinds. I think it's because the flavor is a little more, I don't want to say mild, but it pairs better with other things.
Yeah, it's a lot less like distinct, if
Yeah.
that's what you're going for.
Yes.
No, I totally get that because, like, you know, like Japanese curry usually ends up being on the sweeter side, and so you have very specific things. Indian curry, if done at least the way I like it, I love like spicy and like just most Indian food in general. They do spice in a way where it's like absolutely delicious, and you can like still taste it after the spice, even if it is setting your mouth on fire.
Yup. Yup. I know what that feels like.
Yeah. Yeah, there are a lot of people who I still remember one of the times, and for a long time there were certain Indian meals that, because a lot of the Indian meals I had growing up, my mom made for us. She could make anything: Indian, American, Spanish, Korean, Chinese, Mexican. She just loves making food. But so my brother has a very very low spice tolerance, and so she would make chicken vindaloo very low spice. And so at one point, I'm hanging out with some of my friends, and we had hit this kind of point where I like eating, as someone whose favorite like option for food was pizza, and then I hard cut myself off from pizza. I kind of learned where all of the other restaurants where you could easily get food from are. And so they would start like asking me places, and so I saw an Indian place. I was like, cool. And one of them I knew very well did not have a high spice tolerance. Was like, hey, can like wherever we go, because he saw that I was looking at Indian, he was like, I know they're pretty spicy. I'm like, don't worry, I got you. I see vindaloo on here.
Oh
Now unfortunately,
no.
yeah, so most of the time in most situations vindaloo is one of the spiciest things on the menu, so I accidentally almost killed my friend.
Oh no.
However, that being said, I do now know one of my favorite places to get lamb vindaloo because it's like my level of spice.
Oh. See, I have had like no spons. I've had no spice tolerance all of my life. Right?
Right.
I would sweat at the sight of a chili pepper. And
Yeah.
then my taste buds, I don't know what they did. They did like a backflip off of a high dive recently, and they're like, actually, you know what? Screw that. You're about to love spicy food, and it's going to
Let's
kill you.
go. Yeah. I don't know. My taste buds are very jank in that, and I don't say that in the sense of like I taste things differently. For a long time, I did not know what sour was. Like my mouth did not register sour to the point where like one of my core memories as a kid growing up was me and my friends were doing the like back when warheads challenges were a huge thing. And it was like the who could have like the most warheads and stuff. And I didn't get all the hype about it because I was like, yeah, I mean, it just kind of tastes like candy, and now my mouth is bleeding. I don't know what's happening. And then like 5 years later, I actually started tasting spice. It's like, what the hell is wrong with me?
We've literally stood across from each other and both bit into a lime before, and just like, oh, this is
Yeah,
delicious.
it's
So,
great.
I don't really get the sour thing. I was the same way with warheads. It was
Yeah.
just like I'd pop them and pop them and pop them, and they're like, "Oh my god, you've eaten so many." I'm like, "Well, I feel the pain, but I don't feel the
Yeah,
sour.
yeah. I don't get it.
I don't get it."
And it's yeah. And it's at the weird point where it's like, especially now, between that and then my love of spice, especially came after the. I don't know if we were talking around the time of the Satan's toe incident. Do you know what Satan's toe is?
I do not know about Satan's toe.
Okay, so Satan's toe, or it's like toe of Satan, or some equivalent of that, is a lollipop, and it's considered like the spiciest lollipop ever.
Oh
And
no.
it's some absurd amount of Scoville units. If I look up toe of Satan lollipop, Scoville, yeah. So yeah, for reference, it has about 9 million Scoville heat units, which is a lot. That's an
Yeah,
absurd amount.
that's a
Um,
lot. That is too many.
like like 6 million Scoville units is when you start getting those hot sauces that have some version of bomb on the front of them. But so we had one in one of the clubs for our school, and everyone, and kind of the kid, like, I dare you to take a look of it, and so everyone's taking a look of it. They're like, oh, that's really spicy, and they're like, we had crackers and that kind of stuff, and so people are kind of like taking it and stuff. And I, being me, was like, oh, well, I know what would be really funny, and I took a whole bite out of it so confidently. That was a very bad idea.
Yep. I
um,
can see why.
Yeah, so I had about half of a 9 million Scoville lollipop just kind of sitting around in my mouth. I ate like 2 crackers and such, but the problem was the more I chewed, the more the parts of the lollipop would like work their way into my teeth. And so even about like an hour after, I would like lick the side of my teeth and get a little bit of lollipop out, and it would just happen again. But the other problem was we were looking around for like milk or something like that, because that's, if you get spicy, get the milk, that usually does the trick. But we didn't have any. What I assumed was milk in my like swimming tears of vision was actually just a thing of half and half for tea.
Oh
And so my
no.
friends watch as I just grab half a carton of half and half and like chug it and spit it out into the trash can. But so after this entire debacle, all of a sudden I've kind of hit my threshold of spice, and everything below that I can actually like taste things that are spicy now. Like I know what I actually wait for the taste. And unfortunately, a lot of high spice things, like, they kind of go for the we're gonna kill you with spice so that you don't taste what's in it. Because a lot of the super spicy stuff, like if it's not done well, or if it's done for like, especially like candy or like chip challenges and that kind of stuff, it doesn't like taste good.
Yeah, I've noticed that. That's actually part of why I'm like, oh no, I don't hate spicy food. I hate food that tastes bad, but it's also
Yeah.
spicy. I'm like, I started making more stuff myself that is much more spicy. Like, not crazy,
Right.
but a little bit. There's a kick to it, and it's still enjoyable.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh wow, wait, this is spicy and it tastes good. I thought spicy was supposed to taste bad, and it
Yeah.
didn't. So I'm like, I've watched people do all sorts of spicy challenges. I've watched someone burst into tears eating a hot chip. Pretty funny.
Yeah.
So
That's what I haven't tried yet, and I want to.
I cannot recommend it, as I watched the experience unfold in a large crowd of people at a gathering, and there was a lot of crying and throwing up and
Oh, fun.
running to the store to get more milk. You know?
Yeah.
Not a great experience. I don't think it's the worst one. It's not the worst one I've
Yeah.
seen. I've definitely seen worse. But the hot chip, I think it's because it's like, it's got powder on it and it lingers.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, that's like, yeah, for me, when it's me cooking stuff, like when I'm cooking stuff myself, my favorite thing to use for spicy is like usually like habaneros is the best
Ooh.
blend of like, not only does habanero just taste great, it also gives enough spice, but then also it's at that threshold where I can still like cook for other people semi reliably. Where like for some people it's going to be on their high end, but they're still down. Some people it's going to be like uh just like right around where it's fine. But it tastes good. It's spicy that tastes good.
Yeah. I do like spicy that tastes good. I've eaten your food before, and that's like, you've made it super, super mild for like, I think all of our friends' sake at one point.
We we definitely have a lot of friends that are not as appreciative of spice. So
Yeah, like I can't handle a ton of it, but I like a little kick to it.
yeah,
So I've been using I use a lot of mild spices, but I use a lot of them. You know, pepper combinations that I tend to do. It's like
yeah,
high quantity, but it's not gonna kill anybody.
yeah, absolutely. It's I have like for all that I talk about, like I love international foods. I love different cultures. I still think it's like I always I talk about, like, on one hand, I love my family dearly. I love my family so much, and I'm grateful to have the family I do. That being said, from a culinary standpoint, having the ethnic background of like Scottish, Irish, and Danish, in terms of food, we're not working with a lot of great options. There's some, but there's not a lot.
I am forever grateful that I have a lot of German roots, and the
Oh,
food
there you go.
leans so heavy into like meat. Like it leans very, very heavily into
Yeah,
meat-based things. So you get any kind of meat combination from my family, and it's gonna be decent. Except chicken. I
there
don't
you
know
go.
why, but nobody I know can make chicken except me, and
Really?
probably you. But
I feel like chicken's the one where it's like that's the kind of like standard meat where if you don't know what everyone likes, if it's your first time making something, like chicken's always the best shot because it's like it's easy to tell if it's undercooked. It's the easiest to follow like instructions for. It's the easiest to like fit in any flavor profile for like most ingredients lying around. I don't know. I thought that'd be the easy one.
I think that the biggest problem with chicken is a lot of people don't understand that you are not gonna get salmonella from chicken. Like, as long as it is
Yeah,
cooked, as long as it's not pink, it's cooked all the way through, you do not need to dry the whole thing out. It does not need to be a brick in my
yeah.
mouth. I shouldn't have to chew it for 5 minutes in order for it to be
Oh,
edible.
I still remember my dad learning this as a it was funny. My dad very much grew up in a family of like I like to say like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory family. Not for sake of like they were poor all living in like one room, but like a lot of things that were being made, if it was like his dad cooking, it would be throw some vegetables in the boiling water, like Salisbury steak or just like super dry chicken, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, like the like cabbage soup as a lifestyle kind of food. That wasn't always the case. My grandma still makes some of like the best or made some of the best meatloaf I've ever had. Rest her soul. Um, but and I think everyone says that about like at least one of their grandmas or like grandpas or so. Like
Yeah.
people just made meatloaf better 50 years ago, and I don't know what changed.
Oh, I know what
Um,
changed. I've dipped my toes into meatloaf, alright? I've dipped my entire lower half of my body into meatloaf, and
a
let me
very
tell you,
intensive scientific study.
yeah, it is so difficult to
Really?
consistently make the same thing every time because you have to have like very, very good consistent measurements, and it's going to vary so much based on
Yeah.
what type of either breadcrumb or cracker or variant like that you use. Like,
Yeah.
it'll always come out okay.
I,
Not
but yeah,
good.
hard to like make consistently. Yeah,
Yeah.
because yeah, I am a very much a like vibes based cook, if that makes sense. Of
Same.
like
Same.
I'll see the recipe once. I'll do it like the rule, especially like between me and my mom, is like follow the recipe once so you know your baseline, and then do all of your like ratatouille, throw stuff in. For me, that's usually an extra three lemons and 50 cloves of garlic, more
Same.
than anyone will recommend ever. Um,
I think you and I cook the same way, I'm not gonna lie.
yeah,
Your food tastes like my food, and I'm like, oh
yeah.
no.
But it is a practice that I've got myself into. Also because like sometimes it also helps me think of like, okay, if I want to work kind of like parallel to this, or if instead of using these spices I want to use this, or like instead of using like chicken stock, like if I don't have chicken stock, what can I kind of like do to get the same thing? For me,
So,
half of my substitutes at this point have just become Worcestershire sauce.
oh my
I have
god. Yeah.
I have fully I have converted to yes, it is the secret sauce. You could throw that in anything. If you're ever like, this is missing something, I'll just throw some Worcestershire in there. That'll fix it out somehow.
I do that a lot with I am so guilty of using applesauce in like everything. I put so much
Oh, it's so
applesauce in
good.
everything. The same thing goes with baking soda and lime juice.
Yeah, lime juice is it's so nice to have to just like because I feel like it's kind of like a sweeter version of like lemon juice where you can throw it at a lot more things, and especially as
Yes.
more of like a garnish.
Absolutely. I will like somebody needs to pry that bottle out of my hands because I have like the big jug of it and it's like I feel like okay, but what if I just put in a little lime juice? You don't need lime juice. I just need a little lime juice. Don't even worry about it. So, it's that and garlic obviously. I also go a
Of
little
course.
bit in with the onion powder.
My parents like to even now because I'm living away from them like several states over. So they like sending things from to me from time to time, especially if I'm like, oh, if only I had this, and then like my mom will just be like, yeah, there's an Amazon package at your door. Go open the door. But one of
Congratulations.
the things, one of the things she got me was this like umami seasoning powder where it's like mushroom, garlic, onion, and something else. But you can just like you can throw that in anything just to give it like a bit more flavor, and it works with everything. It's amazing.
I feel like umami is not something that a lot of people in the US work with. Like
Yeah.
that kind of flavor, that kind of depth. And I say this with all the love in my heart, but Americans have nothing on the rest of the world when it comes to cooking. They only know how to make things taste artificial.
We know how to make things taste greasier and cost more. I do think one of the things that's always fun is especially going to new cities, seeing like what people do for fusion. Our ability to like combine cultures in ways that like finding like overlapping tastes and stuff. We do end up doing a lot of that. And sometimes it works really, really well. Sometimes it doesn't at all. But the sheer fact that it exists is enough for some people. But sometimes it's amazing. There is a what was it? It was like this really, really good um I haven't gone there a few months, but it's this like Mexican Asian fusion spot that will also just like throw in other things they have available. But I remember they had this really, really good it was like wasabi teriyaki tacos, which doesn't sound like a thing that makes a lot of sense, but it was so good.
That sounds amazing. That sounds like
It was.
amazing.
But it's
Oh,
like stuff like that is fun. But if you're talking like what specifically comes from America, we've got, like chili, gumbo, um, that kind of stuff. We have the quintessential throw everything you can in a sandwich. Man,
I think the big part about it for me is Americans, there's a few things that we do very well. Barbecue is one of those things. I think
yes.
that the style and the tools used can be better in some variety, but I think about like how other cultures and other countries use food products, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
one, we're super super wasteful, like
Oh, for
incredibly
sure.
wasteful when it comes to food product. Another big
Oh,
thing is like everything comes out very, I want to say, dry and bland almost. Like it's
yeah.
greasy, but it's always the same kind of greasy. Like it's salty, but it's always the same kind of salty. There's no like depth of flavor unless you're going somewhere like super high end. People know what they're actually doing, but even then, there's
Yeah.
going to be influence from other places. There's nothing that's like pure American and good.
I think part of it is also like we have a tendency to want to be able to like get food to as many people as possible. So we kind of want to like have the most like common denominator of food. And unfortunately, a lot of the times that does boil down to making sure that like no one ever gets food poisoning and grease because greasy food people like eating. And so I think it ends up being a lot of that. Like by the sheer fact of, I want to see how other countries do it more because the variance of like you can tell what someone's definition of like medium rare is. Like you can kind of
Yes.
tell where they go to eat because uh actual medium rare is a lot more kind of like red or pink Rather, if it's like full red, that's just rare or raw. But it's a lot more pink than a lot of people expect, and they're like, "Oh, I asked for medium rare," and it's like you don't want that. You just want like medium or medium well. But places will sell it as medium rare because the people like the idea that they like medium rare food, but they also don't want as much pink as is actually medium rare.
Yeah. See, I've gotten medium rare on a few occasions because when it comes to beef, I'm not picky because it's beef. Like, I'm not gonna die if my beef's a little undercooked as long as it's, somewhat
Yeah,
cooked. So, like, I like medium. I like medium rare. I'm not super, super picky on that. But I've had such a variety when it comes to how medium rare is cooked. And sometimes I'll go to a place, get medium rare, and it's darker than the medium.
right. Which is so weird.
And I'm like, because there is a baseline for that. And there is a correct way to cook that because there is an actual, like, method and length of time and, like,
Right.
coloration that's supposed to come out of it. So I'm like, I'll get it sometimes, and I'm like, this is raw. You,
Yeah.
like, flipped this twice. Versus, oh, you just handed me a hockey puck, but it's a slightly underdone hockey puck
Yeah.
somehow.
I don't know. It's one of the reasons that like I've found that I also just like don't get steak as much in places anymore. Part of it is that because I do like actual medium rare. I like having the pink. I like having it a bit more full because you also get like you get it a bit juicier, which is nice. Uh, but I've found that a lot of times, either because of just the sheer variance of medium rare can mean 15 million things. But I love getting like chicken products, pork products especially. I love like pork that is done well. It's very easy to mess up. It is very easy to make it like as dry as a sandal. But like well done, juicy pork is my absolute favorite.
Oh, that's why I don't eat a lot of pork, is because I generally don't eat pork, like, just as a
Yeah.
personal preference. It's not even about the taste. It's just something I don't really eat that much of. Like, I'll have bacon on a burger occasionally, or like I might have
Yeah.
a pork chop at like a holiday gathering, but
Yeah.
it's always so bad, and I don't know how else to put it. It's like I feel like if I want pork, I want it with a lot of fat and it kind of crispy. Not like
Yeah.
bacon, but like,
Oh, you want like carnitas?
yeah, I want something that's not just a slab of dry meat.
Yeah. No, I like the two things for me that I love for pork is like carnitas, which is the kind of like crispied up like shredded pork that you get, especially in a lot of like Latin cuisine and like Mexican especially.
Yes. Yes, I know what you're talking
It
about.
is absolutely delicious. My other favorite thing to do with pork is and I had this epiphany a couple months back, is like slow roasting pork shoulder. It's so good and it's so ridiculously easy to do in a way where you actually get like pork that is not just a dry slab of meat. And if anything, it's kind of like the fat kind of like melts in with whatever you're cooking it. You can shred it as much as you want, or you can just cut into it and eat it. Um, I made like, and that was kind of like back to what we were talking about earlier. I found one recipe for kind of like general slow roasting because I was looking at kind of like how you cook a lot of the cheaper meats in stores because
Yeah.
I'm on that college student budget. I'm not looking to like risk messing up a filet mignon, but also because there's a lot of like the cheaper cuts of meat that are really really good if you cook them correctly. But people just assume like, oh well, it's the cheaper cuts of meat, so it's not going to be as good. Or they try to cook everything like a brisket or everything like a tenderloin, and then they're like, hey, this isn't a brisket or tenderloin. What's going on?
So I'm very familiar with that because I work with a lot of venison. I have gotten
Yeah.
whole deer, disassembled it hundreds of times. And I think that a lot of meat people don't realize it's the same cut from a different place.
There's this channel called, and I watched him for a while, especially when I was kind of getting into cooking more things. And he does a bunch of like cooking stuff, especially with, meat and barbecue and that kind of thing. But so he did this video talking about like, if brisket's so good, why don't we cook everything like a brisket? And he was like, talking about it's a very specific cut of meat. Again, a lot of like tougher muscle fibers or a lot of tougher fibers and stuff. And so to exemplify it, he cooked like every other meat cut as a brisket. And so especially those more expensive cuts of meat, like your tenderloins, your filet mignons, your anything like that, cooking it comes out not good. It's the same reason that like I love, pork shoulder. It's cheap, and you throw it in a pot with what you want. You like brown it a bit. You put it in the oven for like a few hours, and then you turn it up for a little bit more just to get it like crispy on the outside. And then you just have this pot of delicious food. But no, I love pork shoulder now. It's like one of my favorite things to make.
I'm a big meat guy, alright? I like
Hell
most
yeah.
things when it comes to protein. You know? When I look at the meat section at the store, to me, it doesn't matter what it is. As long as there's enough meat on it to work with, you can pretty much work with anything as long as you know what you're doing. And to me, they might taste different in post, but like it's like looking at all the same thing.
Absolutely. I was going to say it's also one of the biggest tricks for looking at meat and that kind of stuff is also when you're looking at cuts of meat, like knowing how much fat should be on there, or like what is good marbling and what is bad marbling. Knowing those kinds of things, sometimes you can get really, really nice cuts, especially like, oh, what is it? I want to say it's like a Denver hanger. It's like the first cousin of like a really good, more expensive cut of steak. And depending on how it's cut, you can get it, and it's pretty much that. Like you're getting a huge bargain. And then conversely, if you are getting something that's more on the expensive side, but the marbling's not great or the cut is weird, then you would have just been better off getting something cheaper.
I mean, one of the biggest things too that I've noticed is like when you're looking at things like fat, pork fat generally good, beef fat generally bad.
Yeah.
I think that's like a big thing that a lot of people gloss over. Like you add pork fat to it and it comes out with a better flavor. At least a flavor that I personally like and a lot of people seem to like. So,
For sure.
if you're going to be cooking with fat in general, you gotta know what to look for in the pork fat variety. The pork fat. Oh, not all fat is created equal. It doesn't work the same.
Real.
It doesn't work the same. I've watched horrible things happen between being like, oh, I've seen people use fat before. Let me just take this giant chunk of beef fat off of it, and surely this will go great.
Oh, beans. Oh, no.
I think a lot of it, too, is people don't have to cook anymore, so they don't.
With our generation and kind of like what we're growing up with, especially with how convenient a lot of things have become, it is one of those things of as much as it has become like convenient, there is a price to it. Like there is a price tag. Like if you get DoorDash every single day, the amount of money you're spending on that is like, and for some people that's worth like having the time to do other things. But for the wide variety of people, I think it is kind of like a looks at the fridge, looks at all that you would have to do to like prep, cook, then clean, how much time that would be, looks at the app, buys chilies. I think there's plenty of people who do go through that don't have to, but they're just like, oh, but I don't want to cook, or like, oh, I don't know how to cook all this up in my fridge. It wounds me.
When I started cooking, and this is going to sound insane, but I literally woke up one day and I was like, I want to know how to make my own food. And I did exactly that. I spent years
Yeah.
doing exactly that. So what I did is I opened my fridge and I tasted a little bit of everything inside and then decided what would go good together.
Honestly, that's like the best way to get into it. I still remember one of my like premier dishes when I had I just moved in here. Um, Me and my lovely girlfriend are looking at like places nearby to get food to eat, but then also trying to like plan out how we want to make food or what kind of food we're going to make. And so I remember, we go grocery shopping, we get all our stuff, and then this is before I had kind of gotten my like library of Alexandria of spices and sauces that I have now, that I have accrued like a gremlin, because I'll make like one meal that needs a specific spice and then it'll sit on the shelf, just calling to me like the Green Goblin mask to go on something that has no relation to it whatsoever.
Me with cumin. Me with cumin.
Yeah, for real. And that was about it. The rest we had, like bell peppers, noodles, stuff to make like American food, stuff to make Mexican food, because that had been the main stuff I was making. But so absolutely nothing. But no, me it's like cumin and then harissa is something that I want to use in so much more stuff, but it's just not meant to go in all the things I want to put it in.
That's why I have like a big jar of basil and I dump it in everything. I dump it in everything. No. I love basil and I put it in every single thing that I'm allowed to.
I was like, you know what? I want to make some yakisoba, because I haven't had the chance to make something like that yet. And we did not have, of the things to make like chicken yakisoba, we had, I think, soy sauce. Whether it was me being like spiting fate, my lack of foresight, or just being really determined to make yakisoba. I made like an American style yakisoba. I used it was like chicken stock, Worcestershire. I had one other thing I put in it that I don't remember, but it worked for the same kind of like blending in with soy sauce and that kind of stuff. And then of course, I had my onions, my peppers, my chicken, all that kind of stuff, and a couple different things. But I made this just like American yakisoba by just looking at my fridge and being like, I have nothing that I need to make this. I am gonna make this. I don't care what happens.
I've still never tried soba.
Number one, there is a big difference, obviously, between like soba and yakisoba, because yaki means like fried or stir fried. That being said, normal soba noodles are absolutely delicious as well. I like them a lot. I also I like, even if you get it at a place, yakisoba feels like one of the most kind of like homemade family meals by the nature that it is. It's like a stir fried noodle dish that you can kind of throw in whatever you want. My favorite meal of all time, my mom literally made to spite a fancy restaurant, and it is like the most felt like one of the most like home cooked things ever. Still my favorite meal of all time.
I love the fact that she made it to spite a fancy restaurant.
A while back, this was a few years ago. It was my dad's birthday, and we went to this restaurant that like we've been to a few times. And it's like a fancy restaurant. We're not talking like LA, you're gonna meet Shaquille O'Neal level fancy, but it's like, it's a nice sit down restaurant. And we see a bunch of things on the menu. And I see two different meals that like call to me. One of them is this like pomegranate glazed pork tenderloin, with like fingerling potatoes and roasted Brussels sprouts. And I was like, man, that sounds really, really good. But the other thing that called to me was cider brine pork chops. And for me, I love cider brine everything. I love cider and I love pork chops. We just talked about how much I love pork. But so I see that on the menu and I look at the sides, and it's stuff that I'm not as big a fan of. I think especially there was like a squash pate something, which I'm sure like is amazing, but I'm not that big of a squash fan. But I also noticed that both meals were the same price, and so when they come over to ask like what we wanted for food and stuff, I said, hey, I noticed these are both the same price. Would I be able to get like these sides with the side of brine pork chop as a meal? like, no, we don't really like do that here. Our sides are very specific for our entrees. I totally get that. I totally understand that. So I was disappointed, but like the pomegranate tenderloin, still amazing. My mom, however, was fuming because she was like, no, 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 no. My son wanted something and he's going to get it. And so a matter of days later, she makes dinner and she sets down a plate with cider brine pork chops, fingerling potatoes, and roasted Brussels sprouts. And it is the best thing I have ever tasted.
I love that so much, though. It's one of those things where it's like, I totally understand having the set menus. Like, set
Yeah.
menus are kind of a part of the restaurant business, depending on, like, what type of restaurant it is, because it is, like, you want
Right.
what's on the plate to, you don't want stuff that's like, well, you can have corn, let me just slap it on there, it doesn't taste good, and
Yeah,
it
for
doesn't
sure.
work, but, I guess if that's what you want.
It's the same reason there's like a giant wine business of like you have dessert wines, you have entree wines, you have things that go with beef, things that go with chicken. I've had like 3 different people try to explain that to me and then give me like a couple different wines to understand what it's saying. And for me, who's my understanding of alcohol is the ones that taste good and the ones that don't taste good and the ones in between that usually make me get drunk way, way faster. Um, is that's kind of my understanding of most of alcohol. So most of the time I was like, yeah, it's wine. It tastes a little bit different from the other wine. Still wine.
I mean, I think the general way to do it is if you have a fish, you're going to want to go with a white wine. If you're going to have, like, a meat, you're going to want to go with a red wine. Generally.
Yeah.
That's the important part. That's what you need to know.
If I could just have like mojitos or soju as my choice of alcohol with food every time, I'll be vibing. That or like a good cider, I'm having a great time. I don't care what I'm eating.
I have this terrible habit of whenever I fly on an airplane for more than 2
Oh
hours,
no.
I get a bottle of white wine and I drink it on the plane. Just a little bottle.
Oh, okay.
It's like a beer bottle size. They give you like this little
Yeah.
beer bottle size of wine. You can get white or red. And I get white wine and I sit there and I drink the entire thing in like 5 minutes.
I was like so on board, especially because you were like 2 hours or more. If you're down in it to just vibe for the rest of the flight.
I've learned that the only thing that can really like calm my nerves in an airplane is like alcohol, but then what happens is I'm like, oh, this is really working, I'm really calm, so I'll take another sip, and then 8 more sips in the span of 30 seconds. I'm like, wow, I'm feeling so calm and relaxed right now from this bottle of white wine.
Yeah.
Profit.
So kind of on that topic, because I know for you especially, you have plenty of allergies, but also like very potent allergy to things.
Yes.
Is there like, what is that like when you're like going out to, especially going out to like restaurants or going to events and stuff, like getting food?
So, you've had to eat with me on several occasions, and I have a general
Yes.
idea of what I can and cannot have. There's a lot of allergies I don't know, and sometimes I genuinely don't know until I bite into something. So, when I am looking for places to eat, the big thing that I do beforehand is one, take an allergy medication. Just one of those
Right.
daily allergy pills, like a Claritin, a Zyrtec, something of the sort. And I
Very fair.
will, if I've been there before, I will get something that I have had before if it's out with friends. With family, it's a little different because if they need to, they can bring me to the hospital. But
Yeah.
I have a good idea of what goes into everything. So if I am going to a Mexican restaurant, I'm fine with peppers, I'm fine with cheeses and beans and stuff like that. Super safe option would be like a chicken quesadilla. If there's some onions in
Yeah.
that, cool, whatever. But if I'm going somewhere, like, if we want to get Japanese food, like if I were to get, like, something like that, I wouldn't be able to eat 90% of the things on that menu because of the levels of cross-contamination with a lot of vegetables that I'm allergic to. And the fact that
Yeah.
there's eggs in everything.
Oh yeah.
Like a little bit of eggs I can handle, like if it's in a battering or something that's been deep fried, if it's really well cooked, I can usually power through without much of an issue. Or if I'm going to have like some kind of dessert, I'll opt for like an ice cream over a pastry or a cake because, it's really about knowing what's available before I go so I can kind of puzzle out what's going to cause the least amount of issues.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially for my family, we have people with celiacs,
Mhm.
who we want to make sure there's options for them. Like if there is bread that is or gluten that has been even like prepped on the same like table, like there is risk of like contamination and there's risk of injury to the person, that kind of thing. I especially like I love food too much. I was literally like, hey, let's talk about food for an hour.
It's true. It's true. We've been talking about food for an hour, so success.
like it's like I love like there's certain foods where it's like on one hand if I could like take someone's shrimp allergy because I hate shrimp, but not only do I hate shrimp, people love trying to get me to eat shrimp anyway. Like if I could take someone's shrimp allergy so that they could eat it and I have an excuse not to, I'm gonna do that down pat. But if I had like a pepper allergy or like an egg or banana allergy or stuff like that, I don't know what I'd be doing. I don't know what I'd do.
I think one of the things is it's like I have never felt like I am missing out. So you never have to worry about that. Like I don't
Yeah.
feel like I'm missing out on anything because like even with the allergies that I do have, it's like there's so much good food in the world that I can have. So I'll just eat the good food that I can have. I don't think I'm
Yeah,
gonna miss out on having a banana split. I'm not gonna like
absolutely.
lose my mind over a carrot cake. It's fine, you know?
Because you're right. I think especially because there's so many foods out there. For a long time, I was actually like kind of the pickier one in my family, and then I just kind of had the epiphany of, oh, it's actually just way easier to enjoy food or to try food than it is to arbitrarily say, I don't think I'll like that, so I'm never gonna try it. Literally, my favorite type of tacos is lengua tacos. Uh,
There you go.
for those listening who are not aware, so lengua tacos, lengua is tongue, cow tongue specifically, um, which when I first had it, I didn't even know what it was. I was at a taco party, which is the thing. I was in California. My aunt was holding a taco party where there was a bunch of people over, and it was this dude with this setup of like his little truck. It almost looked like a New York like hot dog truck, if you will, but then just like 50 extensions for like taco meats, taco toppings, cheeses, all this kind of stuff. It was a taco party, and my mom brings one to me, and I was like, "Oh, what's in it?" And she was like, "Beef." I was like, "Okay, beef, cow, yeah, I like beef. Cool, I eat it." And it's one of the best tacos I've ever had. And I was like, "Wait, so what do you mean by beef?" She's like, "Yeah, it's cow tongue." Um, because to her credit, she knew that if she told me that before I ate it, I never would have ate it. And I've made it my life's goal since then to get more people to eat lengua, without them actually knowing what it is, because it's really, really good and it's flavorful and it's tender, and it's everything you want in a meat. But people are like, "Oh, it's the tongue." No, I'm not gonna eat that. Why would I eat that? I'm just gonna eat like normal ground beef. Like, no, there's better options.
See, honestly, you could hand me pretty much anything and tell me what it is, and I'd probably at least take a bite out of it if I can, because there's very
Yeah,
few things that I don't like. Cinnamon is one of them. I will always hate
that's fair.
cinnamon. I've been trying to force myself to like it, still don't like it. Don't really want anything to do with it. We'll keep trying to like it. Either way. But it's like I'm not opposed to trying new things. I'm opposed to trying new things that might kill me. And the same kind of point, it's like I don't blame picky eaters. A lot of people have texture issues, a lot of people have flavor issues. It's like I'm never
Yeah,
going to force someone to eat something because it's going to be a bad experience if they eat it, they don't like it, and I forced them to do it, so then they're like, "Why would you do this to me? This tastes like garbage and I never want to try anything new ever again." Ah,
yeah. I think with that, and especially like texture, for me, it's usually if I don't like something, it's because of texture.
yeah.
Sometimes it's because of taste, for me, like, because I was talking about shrimp earlier, because I used to actually like shrimp a lot, and then at some point, just like the taste of shrimp, my brain was just like, no, like physically no, not in an allergy way, but it was just like, no, you're not eating this. I disagree. Um, but for a lot of times, it's texture, like squash. I don't know what it is about squash texture, but I like can't stand it. I like the taste of squash. I've found like ways to eat it since. Like my girlfriend made this delicious roasted vegetable soup that had squash in it. Perfectly fine. That thing was delicious. But if someone's handing me like butternut squash or just like half an acorn squash, that kind of thing, that they've roasted and they've seasoned it, like I don't care what you did to it. Like the texture to me is just gonna actively ick my brain.
We're beyond past the hour mark too. So if you
Oh man.
have any final notes, you're more than welcome to say them.
I guess my final note in general is kind of like we've been talking about throughout this. If you've never tried something, if you don't know whether you're going to like it, it's very easy to say, I don't know if I'm going to like it, so I'll pass. But the world gets so much better if you say, I don't know if I'm going to like it, so I'll try it. World gets so much better. So try everything as long as
I
it doesn't kill you.
I completely agree on that last part specifically, especially.